Science in particular is a subject with a very promising future. Once the student goes to higher education, science can be something they major in. Science is always evolving and a part of STEM, yet is not on the top of the list in closing the achievement gap. This creates more of an achievement gap since students are not receiving a well-rounded education. Also, you cannot measure a child's success based solely on two subjects, and this negatively hinders students from being successful.
Many low-income schools place an emphasis on math and reading by having double blocks in these classes. They invest more time on reading and math, oftentimes at the expense of other core subjects, or many times the arts. While this is done in an attempt to close the achievement gap, math and reading are not the only subjects that are important.
Our education system puts such an emphasis on math and reading, it creates more of an achievement gap within the other subjects. Instead of giving students a well-rounded education, they only focus on one aspect and it creates more of a disadvantage. While math and reading are foundation subjects, each child learns differently and excels in different areas. This is much more than passing a standardized test, but not giving students a well-rounded education is an achievement gap in itself.
Children that are raised in a family that has a lower economic status before entering kindergarten already are affected by the achievement gap based on their vocabulary. Parents have a huge impact on their child's vocabulary based on just normal conversations they have in their homes. The higher the economic status, the more vocabulary is attained by the child, making them farther ahead of this gap. By the age of 3 years old, children already have a 30 million word gap. Everyday conversation is what creates this gap. The more words a parent uses around the child, the more they are exposed to vocabulary.
However, we can try to combat this 3 million word gap through early childhood institutions, like preschool. Studies have proven that early childhood institutions provide more experience than the parents do at home for both higher and lower socioeconomic families.
Not only does the family's socioeconomic status affect where they fall on the achievement gap, but also their native language. Bilingual students are already at a disadvantage based on something they have no control over.
Through our approach to education, it is beneficial to foster development in several aspects, such as self-regulation, regulation of attention, emotion, and response of stress, which promotes closing the learning gap through programs like Tools of the Mind.
Tools of the Mind is a program that is normally started in kindergarten and is focused around the students who are in lower socioeconomic statuses. This program focuses on cognitive and academic skills that is based off the work of Vygotsky, including self-regulation, deliberate memory, literacy, symbolic thought, and mathematical understandings. The result found that students who went through the Tools of the Mind program scored significantly higher than those students who did not. This is a program that shows that closing the achievement gap is possible to some extent.
The Head Start program is a tool used in low socioeconomic communities to give children a high-quality early childhood education, which is used as a step in closing the achievement gap. It has been shown that if a child has been exposed to high-quality education at an early age, that will carry on over to the rest of their education life. This program is mainly in low socioeconomic families and as a help to involve parents in their child's education.
There are many factors, however, that are immeasurable, and there probably always will be a few, for there are things that happen beyond what we observe and what we can control in our studies.
While the attempt to close the achievement gap is there, and there is an increase in minorities and people from low socioeconomic statuses going to college and being successful, the achievement gap is still present.
As future educators, one can only continue to aid and educate our students to be the best versions of themselves.